I thought my best friend was betraying me. For months, I watched her sabotage my career, steal my ideas, and destroy my reputation at work. So I exposed her publicly, in front of everyone, and I felt vindicated. But 3 years later, I discovered the truth, and it completely destroyed me. This is the story of how my revenge created a victim I never knew existed. Welcome to Plot Twist. My name is Sarah, and I had the perfect life on paper. I was 28 years old, vice president of marketing at a Fortune 500 tech company, six-figure salary, corner office, everything I'd worked for since college. But more importantly, I had Emily. Emily was my best friend since we were 6 years old. We grew up together, went to the same college, and by some miracle of fate, we both ended up at the same company. She was brilliant, genuinely brilliant. We'd stay late at the office together, brainstorming campaigns, laughing at inside jokes, talking about our dreams. I told Emily everything. My insecurities, my fears, my ambitions. She knew me better than I knew myself. And she was always there, always supportive. Or so I thought. The first year together at the company was magical. We were the power duo, the two women climbing the corporate ladder together. I remember thinking, this is it. This is what it means to have everything. I was so naive. The first sign was so small I almost missed it. I pitched an idea for a new product campaign in a team meeting. It was original. Months of research, late nights and energy drinks. My boss loved it. He asked me to develop it further. 2 weeks later, Emily walked into the office. I remember staring at her across the conference table, waiting for her to say something, to laugh, to clarify. She never looked at me once. My boss's eyes lit up. He said it was brilliant. He wanted to move forward immediately. I felt something break inside me that day, but I rationalized it. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe she'd been thinking about it too. Maybe I was being paranoid. Except it didn't stop. The campaign I'd spent 3 months perfecting. She claimed credit in a company-wide email. The client relationship I'd been nurturing for 6 months. She inserted herself into the meetings and slowly took over. The promotion I was told was coming. It went to her instead. Each time I confronted her. Each time she had an explanation, a reason, a way to make me feel crazy for even questioning her. Sarah, that email went to everyone. I didn't mean to take credit. Sarah, the client specifically asked for me. I didn't ask for the meetings. Sarah, they promoted me because of different reasons. You're next, I'm sure. But her eyes told a different story. There was something cold in them, something calculating. I started noticing other things. She'd make small comments in meetings that undermined my credibility. Sarah's idea is good, but it's not really innovative, is it? I think Sarah's approach is a bit outdated compared to what the market wants. Subtle, deniable, but cutting. My coworkers started treating me differently, less respectful, more dismissive. I watched my reputation crumble in real time. And Emily watched too. Sometimes I'd catch her smiling when someone criticized my work. I started having panic attacks before work, insomnia at night. I'd rehearse conversations with Emily in my head, trying to figure out how my best friend became my enemy. But I still didn't know the real reason. 6 months in, something changed. Emily started accusing me of things I didn't do. In a meeting with senior leadership, she claimed I'd shared confidential client data with a competitor. It was a lie, a complete fabrication. But she had emails, screenshots, falsified documentation. Everything was meticulously crafted to look real. I tried to defend myself. I showed the real emails. I proved they were manipulated. But by then, the damage was done. The company launched an internal investigation. My laptop was confiscated. My files were reviewed. My reputation was destroyed before they even finished investigating. And Emily, she sat in those investigation meetings, looking concerned, sympathetic, like she was the victim of my alleged betrayal. "I can't believe Sarah would do this," she said, her voice shaking with fake emotion. "She was my best friend. I trusted her completely." The investigation cleared me. The documents were proven to be forged. But the company couldn't ignore what had happened. They couldn't have an employee who was capable of this kind of deception, even if she was innocent. I was terminated. One day I had everything. The next day I had nothing. My career was over. My reputation was poisoned. My bank account was drained from legal fees. And the person who destroyed me was still there, still working, still winning. I remember sitting in my apartment for 3 weeks, not leaving, not showering, just staring at my phone, waiting for Emily to call and explain. She never did. I became obsessed with figuring out why. Why would my best friend destroy me? I hired a private investigator. I spent $15,000 digging into Emily's life. What I found was meticulous. She'd been planning this for months, maybe longer. She had false documents prepared, fabricated emails dated back a year. She'd been setting me up the entire time while smiling in my face. But the why was still missing. I dug deeper. Financial records showed she had massive debt, like crippling debt. Hundreds of thousands of dollars to people who looked dangerous. Loan sharks, organized crime connections. Someone was funding her lifestyle, and in return, she was doing their bidding. I found the name, Marcus Chen, her boyfriend. I'd never met him. Emily had kept him completely separate from her work life. Now I knew why. He was connected to a white-collar crime ring. They infiltrated companies, had their people inside, because now I had a name, a face, a target. I gathered everything, every piece of evidence, every falsified document, every email, every connection between Emily and Marcus. And I did something I'm not proud of. I went public. I wrote a LinkedIn post, a long, detailed account of what happened. The sabotage, the false accusations, the investigation results that cleared me. I named Emily. I named Marcus. I included the evidence of the crime ring. I hit publish at 9 p.m. on a Wednesday. By 6 p.m. Thursday, it had 50,000 shares. By noon, news outlets were picking it up. By 3 p.m., federal investigators were at the company. By end of week, Emily and Marcus were both arrested. I watched it all unfold from my apartment. I should have felt victorious. Instead, I felt empty. The media called me a hero. I'd wanted Emily to suffer, to feel what I felt, to lose everything like I had. And she did. She was fired, arrested. Her mugshot was all over the internet. I watched her arraignment on the news. She looked terrified, broken, like a shell of the person I used to know. And I felt satisfied. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe again. Justice had been served. Or so I thought. 2 years passed. I'd moved on, got a new job, started rebuilding my life. Not the kind I expected. Not a justification. A real, gut-wrenching apology. She explained everything. 3 years before we reconnected at the company, Emily had gotten into an abusive relationship with Marcus. He was charming at first, then controlling, then violent. When she tried to leave, he threatened to hurt her family. He had photos of her, videos, things that would destroy her reputation. He told her exactly what to do at the company. Destroy me. sabotage the career of the one person who could have saved her. She resisted at first, but Marcus had ways of making people compliant. Threats, intimidation, drugs. By the time she was executing his plan, she wasn't even herself anymore. She was a puppet, and she hated herself for what she was doing to me. Every time she sabotaged my work, she cried in the bathroom afterward. Every time she lied about me. And the only way out, Marcus told her, was to make sure I was destroyed completely. He wanted me gone because I was a threat. If I became successful, if I moved up high enough, I might discover what Emily really was. So he had her destroy me to protect his operation. The letter continued. After my LinkedIn post went public, everything changed. Federal investigators contacted her. They offered her a deal. Testify against Marcus and the crime ring, and they'd reduce her sentence. She took the deal. She testified. She gave them everything. But in her cell, awaiting trial, she attempted suicide. The letter mentioned this so casually, like it was a footnote, that it hit me harder than anything else. She'd been so desperate to escape that she tried to end everything. She failed, survived, and spent the next 18 months in psychiatric care while also testifying against Marcus. He got 30 years. She got 4, with time served. She was getting out in 6 months. The letter ended with this. Sarah, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness. But I need you to know that you destroyed the monster that was destroying me. You saved me by destroying me. I know that sounds insane, but it's the truth. I was trapped in a cage, and you set me free. Even though you thought you were just getting revenge, I'm sorry it cost you everything. I'm sorry I hurt you, but thank you. Thank you for saving my life by taking away everything I had left to lose. I read that letter 17 times. I cried every single Emily's number. Different number, probably a new phone. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. We met at a coffee shop, a neutral place. I almost didn't recognize her. She looked fragile, haunted, but also real, present, like she was actually there, not performing anymore. We sat across from each other for a long time without speaking. Finally, I asked, "Why did you reach out?" She said, "Because I need you to know that what you did wasn't revenge. It was rescue. And I spent 2 years in prison forgiving you for it. Now I need to know if you can forgive yourself." We talked for hours. She told me more about the abuse, the manipulation, the absolute horror of being trapped inside another person's life. I told her about my pain, my betrayal, the way I'd questioned my own reality. We both cried. At the end, we didn't become best friends again. That trust was broken, and some things can't be repaired. But we reached an understanding. She'd been a victim too, a different kind of victim, and my quest for justice had accidentally liberated her. Sometimes revenge and rescue are the same thing. Sometimes destroying someone is the only way to save them. I learned that day that the world is rarely black and white. The person you think is destroying, you might be destroyed themselves. The revenge that feels so righteous might actually be justice for someone else's suffering. This doesn't excuse what Emily did. She still hurt me. She still destroyed my career. But it changes how I understand pain. Everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. And sometimes, the person you think is your enemy is actually just trapped in someone else's nightmare. That's the plot twist I never saw coming. And it's the one that changed everything. If this story hit you hard, you're gonna love what's coming next. Subscribe for more plot twists that will shake you to your core. Turn on notifications so you never miss a revelation. This is Plot Twist Revelations.